on the old railroad right away down through there. So my mother bought it from Ann Archer, and I believe that she lived at the time when Mom bought it. She was living on the square, and I'm not sure which building, but in an apartment on the square.
Did she work at Penny's?
My mom did. I don't know about.
Oh, your mom did? Was your mom originally like from Berlin or something?
No, Waterloo, Iowa originally,
Oh,
and actually Rhinebeck, which is right outside of Waterloo.
Now, what
So
year
there's-
did your mom buy this?
She bought it in 1939,
39, okay.
and so
So she's actually the second owner.
yeah, that makes me the third owner. And I'm sorry to say, he was a businessman, and he owned some car dealerships. He owned a car dealership in Chicago, and he also owned a car dealership in St. Louis. And so I think when they talk about the gangster the connection, I don't think that he was in Kansas City as much, possibly, as it would have been in St. Louis, because he did have and that goes back to where they supposedly brought stolen cars and took them back and forth to the different places. Which
How do you folklore?
it has four, originally it had the 4 fireplaces, and it had a big coal furnace. So it had a central heating coal furnace. When this house was built, it had its own electrical power plant. And I'm still right now in the process of rewiring it. This wiring that you see there, that's all the old original house wiring.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone through and just started. I've rewired completely the whole upstairs with new modern wiring and stuff.
You do that yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. And so if it burns down, I don't have anybody to blame but myself. But now we have propane, so we have a central.
What do you know about the painting before you leave?
Hmm?
What do you know about that painting?
Which one?
Over the fireplace?
Oh, I don't really know a whole lot about that. Mom bought that. She bought 3.
That's a real nice.
She bought 3 pictures like that, or paintings, and they're all original oils. And that's the smaller of the 3.
Really?
The other 2 are quite a bit larger.
Yeah, it's nice.
So it has 4. This is a bed warmer.
Oh,
What is this?
Oh, that's part of the interesting story about that. My grandfather had a farm outside of Gettysburg, and so those he actually picked up in his field. So those actually came from the Gettysburg bed.
Cool.
No way, Richard.
wow. Candle molds.
Yeah, you recognize those. Most people look at that and they go, "What are those?" And it's,
I'm just not trying to stay out of the picture. Bugle there.
those actually were my grandmother's candle molds, and I think that she actually used them.
And all his steins, oh my.
Yeah, my dad collected steins. So.
Billy Beer up there.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I acquired that at, but
That
was his
that
15.
Billy Carter?
Yeah, that was his 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Because he was.
Look at that beautiful clock over there.
Isaiah.
Is that your brother's?
Yeah, they collected clocks,
They did. That's a neat thing to collect.
and I don't know. There's like a dozen of them around, and at one time I had them all,
Synchronized.
going on.
You can come down up there and
Yeah.
come down.
Yeah, but as far as the top, that would be the floor of the room.
Charles, I'm leaving.
Are you leaving?
I'll see you later.
You guys will have to introduce yourselves. This is my wife, Oksana.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
See you next time sometimes, huh? Have you-
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your home with
Uh-huh.
us.
You're
Are you
welcome.
coming back from the doctor, or are you going to
No,
go straight?
I will drive right away. I
Okay. Left about a 5-foot dead airspace behind this chimney, so the chimney caught on fire, it wouldn't catch house on fire. I mean, I can see a practical use for having that space there, although even though it is usable space, and you
Am I on your way?
can do things.
Yeah, everybody is.
Let us back out of the way.
So where
I'm
did
short.
Do you think the gangsters were really here before your mother, or?
Well, it's interesting because somewhere in the 1980s, Archer's granddaughter got a hold of Mom, and she was doing a family history.
I saw her website.
She had pictures of her grandfather at this house while the house was under construction and stuff. And so she came and asked if she could talk, if she could come, and she came and Mom showed her the house and she showed her pictures and stuff. And she had a picture of her grandfather with Al Capone on his yacht. So whether it was just a photo opportunity, I really don't think the timelines match for Al Capone to really ever have been here. Archer may have known him, but between the time from when the house was actually built to when Al Capone was in prison, to when he got out of prison, to when Mom bought the house, it really, I don't think that really matches up.
So do you think?
But he did know him well enough at least to have his picture taken with him.
What do you think that this hidden area?
And then at that time, my parents had a farm in Mexico, Missouri, and there was a couple of years there during World War II when they weren't actually living here. And then there was, I was born in 1954. Mom was living in Waterloo, Iowa, teaching at that time, and she would come up here and spend her summers and Christmases and things like that. So no matter where we've lived, I've always been here in my summers. And then when I graduated from high school in '73, I came up and I've been living here ever since.
What, did people used to break in here?
Yeah, they did. We've had surprisingly not that much vandalism for it sitting empty like it did for a lot of times, but there were some times where people brought in. I remember one time that they had, this isn't the original piano that was here, but they had tried to steal the piano and they had it turned up and they couldn't get it out the door, and they didn't have sense enough to take the legs off or didn't have the time or know that they could do that, because I remember we came home and the piano was sitting there. And,
Yeah.
Look at that clock there.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Beautiful blocks.
That was carved.
This is my little man cave in here, and I'm sold on wood heat. Like I said, we have central heating, propane gas and stuff, but they're just, to me, there's just nothing beats having a wood stove. And you can have just a little, especially on days like this.
Oh, this is nice and toasty in here.
This is another one of the rooms that has the fireplace. So,
But you added this, not your mom, this stuff.
yeah, actually my dad put this in here. Or maybe I'm not really sure who initially put that hole in the chimney for a stove, because pretty much all my life there's always been a stove sitting here, or had access to that hole.
J.E. Rundy, 1903.
What's the story behind that?
From Charlie. I mean, Harry still.
Yeah, I brought that at the Truman. I brought that at the Truman. You guys should have that in your museum, because I can't believe that the university would have discarded that.
They did?
Yeah, I bought that at one of their
I don't think
at one of their when they changed their name, they tried to get rid of anything and everything that had anything to do with Northeast Missouri.
That was a university one as well?
Yes. Yeah, that used to hang in, I remember when I went to school there, that used to hang in the old Laughlin building, in one of the stairwells of the Laughlin building before they tore that down.
Looks like a Van Dyke.
You should not give that story. You should tell them that it's some relative of yours, or
Yeah. My great aunt. On the plata, and they cut them into these beams, and so we jacked up this. I had to build a wall in the basement to support the wall I had to build here, so we could lift this whole end of the house up and cut this wall out, and then we put this header across here and set it down. So this is the room I added on to make the kitchen bigger.
What a view.
So I actually added 3 rooms across the back. So these aren't original. This is something that I did to make it bigger.
What a nice
I like
view.
it.
And then I have a wrap. I mean, the goal between the deck now and the concrete, my goal was to be able to walk all the way around the house without being in the mud. So now you can go around and get to any of the doors without without getting your feet muddy.
you probably have a lot of wildlife that comes.
Oh yes,
to
I
your
do.
door.
If you look at, just go to YouTube, if you ever go on YouTube, and look at Charles, just type in Charles Sarp, and it'll bring up my turkey videos. Because last winter. And this was originally a utility room garage. The old original pictures show a double garage door right there. And then shortly after Mom got it, my grandfather closed that off, and then this was his like a workshop utility type room, but it wasn't. And the old generator that ran the house, that powered the house, used to sit over here in the corner of this room. And I still have that generator. It's a really cool. It has a Model T engine, like a Model T gas, 2-cylinder Model T gas engine that runs it.
Are these yours when you were a baby?
Yes, that's
Aw.
Mom holding me when I was a baby there.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, you were a nice looking young boy.
Then there's a picture over
34
here. I
years
wonder if
ago, we
that must
talked
be him
about
too.
this, and the guys talked about a garage where you could go out the back or front
Mhm.
in order not to be seen and go out
Mhm.
that way.
Yeah.
A secret way out. Is that? Do you think that occurred?
Well,
or-
there were seeing in the dollars most farmhouses have. It would have been something similar to that, except it was about 40 feet long, and so it came from the back out of the basement and through, and then came out not too far down below the
So
hill.
that's where the tunnel
And that's
came
where the tunnel thing came
Oh.
out of.
Well, why
And
would
so-
they need something 40 feet long?
Well, that was like I said, it was kind of like an extended storm cellar type thing, but because I remember when I was younger, and then my stepdad filled it in, because it was kind of caving in and stuff, and then they poured a new basement wall and stuff and closed it off.
Is that you?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Is that you over here?
Yep, that's me. This was also once you'll have to excuse the mess, but this was also the add-on. So I put the basically this width all the way across the back of the house and tacked it on.
You go ahead.
Thanks.
We always block. Yeah, I
And
can't get anything.
I put a dedicated
Another
circuit by all the windows so that if I needed to run electric heaters or space heaters or what, I could. So. My wife would shoot me, She said, "You're not gonna take them upstairs, are you?"
We're not here.
Beautiful.
So
We're here to see the architecture.
there's five bedrooms upstairs.
5 bedrooms. You would have almost rattled me. Now you were the only child, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Jim almost rattled.
Well, in hindsight, now that I think back on it, they stuck me as far away from everything as they could because my toy room was this far back bedroom.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, and that was where I had all my toys and I could play and leave my stuff and everything. And later on, after a while, I got to thinking about it and I said, well, what they really did was just stick me off as far away as they
But your
could.
great grandparents probably came to visit too.
And so this was the master bedroom. It has the fireplace. So this is the fireplace that sits above the one in the living room. And so this is also the fireplace that has the room behind it.
Okay. The room / hiding place.
Yeah.
Room behind the fireplace. I still don't understand how you can do that.
And here.
And I'll
They
move
go in
out
the
of way
attic
so
and there's
you can go
there's
and
a
see.
the attic.
This is the and there's a full attic over the whole house too. So there's attics over the top.
Oh, look, and
ones,
ground
and there's
here.
a full attic over the top.
Wow.
And
I
this
love
is-
the arches.
Yeah, Pam has
Yeah.
arches in her house, and even the new house she's building, she's put arches.
And I decided why I think I've always loved arches after I was at Washington School.
Mhm.
And I got to thinking about that arch by where my 6th grade was, and I thought, when I was a kid, I loved that arch.
She sat in class
And-
and looked out at it.
Oh, is this you?
Mm-hmm. He did in like 1964, I think. But he later on became famous for painting those types of sea scenes, boat scenes.
Is that the original Mona Lisa over there?
No, and there's another bedroom here, and that might be original bedroom furniture.
From one to the next.
There's where we were, the skylights.
Oh, we got a new addition.
How long since you've used that room? A long time.
Long time. So my goal at this point now is to get the rest of the back.
Let me
hall.
out of your
And
way.
as we,
I just want to take
as
a
we
shot
were
and I'll get out of the way.
as we were cleaning things out here, I'll let you get around and see the furniture in this room.
Oh, yeah. I love furniture.
As we were cleaning out, a lot of stuff got shoved in front of us as we were going too. So, but that hallway goes around and goes to a bathroom that adjoins that other bedroom, the little bedroom, first bedroom. So, and then there's a bedroom back there, and this one, from what I understand, was the maid's room. So, and then they had their own. The servants had their own stairwell and exit. And stuff
You
like
may
that.
have already.
What's the maid's room?
That one back there was probably the maid's room.
Is this where they had your toy room?
No, my toy room is back that way yet. down that hallway to the last bedroom that's behind this bedroom. So that's what I said. Where they had me stuck as far back as.
Now, how many?
Nope, I'm done.
Well, I mean, considering that he didn't really have a family, as far as I know, he didn't have a lot of. But there are some newspaper articles.
Pink Boy Floyd or.
Yeah, it was something like it was one of those.
Okay.
There are some newspaper articles about some of those type of people being seen in this area, and they were speculating. And then of course, Archer drove a nice big car, and his friends, so they were always talking about all these big fancy cars that were coming in and out. And back then, back then there wasn't big, well up until, gosh, in the early '70s, up until then there was nothing between this house and Kirksville. The VFW. Well, where Floor Mart is now, I think there was a dairy, Rogers Dairy or something like
But
that.
the new highway.
But the new highway didn't come here until '78. So the house at the head of the driveway, as you go out, that used to be halfway in, and it was a roadhouse.
Oh yeah,
town.
that's where our folks used to go to the halfway.
And that was literally halfway between Kirksville and Novinger, and that was it. There was nothing else between Novinger and Kirksville on that road until they started, building up and stuff. So.
Now Radical Ridge, or not Radical Ridge. What was the Girl Scout camp we used to come out here?
Oh, Becky Thatcher.
Becky Thatcher.
Yeah, that's
Girl Scout
on
camp.
that's on the west end of our farm,
Okay.
and we owned on like two sides.
How would we have gotten there?
If you just go out my driveway and turn to your right and keep going just before you hit the new highway, there's a big gate right there, and that's the driveway to the old Girl Scout camp.
Well, that's not. Is it in existence anymore, or do they use it anymore?
They sold it. The Girl Scouts sold it.
Fred,
County commissioner or county?
Fred, he used to be on.
City council.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His first name Fred.
Not Corder anymore.
Yeah. He sold it. He bought it. He kept just enough because he built a new house out there. So he kept just a few acres and built a house close to the road, and then he sold the rest of it to somebody, I think, from Kansas City or something.
Yeah, we used to go to Girl Scout camp out there.
So
Fred Clark.
Fred
Clark, right.
Yeah, Fred Clark.
Yep.
So the halfway in was halfway between Kirksville
Kirksville
and
and
Novinger.
Yeah. And then there was another one that was Port of Call.
Oh, I don't remember
And,
Portico.
and the Port of Call.
Now be careful.
Whoa, oh, Portico was wild.
and that was on the Lake Road.
Right.
I think
It's
where-
right where the boat thing
Where
is.
the
right?
True
Yeah,
Blood,
it's
where
True
True
Blood
Blood,
is.
where True Blood Marine.
And
is.
Ruby and Uncle Smitty had that for a while.
I'd be on the way to Youngstown.
You know, when I do genealogy research, I thought I've seen the Archer name in this area. Did he have? Is there a reason why he came here? Like he had family members around here?
Not that I'm aware of, but like I said, I know that he bought originally. He bought this from Dr. Gobin. Another little interesting side fact: there was a well. There used to be a big two-story house, like a southern house, because it had the pillars in the front, and there was a porch on top, and you could go out and just beautiful view. But there was a well there, and he used to bottle that and sell it as Dr. Gobin's bottled mineral water. So whether it really had any.
What was your mother's name when she bought the house?
Tetzner. Her maiden name was Tetzner.
So the Archer came.
Before that.
So Archer was
Built
the
the
one
house
who
and
built the
was
house,
original.
and then Mom bought it from his widow.
Well, My grandmother knew a lady named Ann Archer, and she worked at Penny's in the dry goods. And my grandmother would tell me that she would come out here, and knew these.
That could very well be,
These
because I know that she, when Mom bought the house from her, she was Ann.
There was a bud around here, wasn't there?
And I know that when Mom bought the house from her, at that time she was already living in Kirksville, and it seems like she was living on top of one of those apartments there on the square, but I don't remember exactly which building it was.
So, you think this Archer that built the house could have been a relative of that Ann Archer?
Yeah, they were husband and wife. Ann and William were.
But where was Ann from?
She was from Chicago.
See, that doesn't make sense. But you said she did live downtown.
Was she, after her husband
I
died?
believe that after her husband died, she lived downtown on the square.
You suppose
But
she could have worked at Penny's?
It's quite possible. Yeah.
Well, look in the old city directories when we go back up to the thing. Look in,
Look
like
in the
39.
late 30s, yeah.
39 city
Look.
But
directories.
somehow my grandmother knew her, and I assumed that she knew her from Hurdlin or something.
I mean, she may have originally been from this area and just married the man that lived in Chicago, which is why I'm
And came back
just
here.
assuming and then came back here. Maybe that's part of what the connection of my aunt. Maybe my wife.
Thank you so much. Chance of a lifetime. And don't forget to write for us. Perfect.
Thank you.